Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome if you're new. I'm Stacy and today we're going to be doing a little watercolor and then doodling over the top, I guess is what we're doing. I just wanted to do something loose and intuitive and low pressure. So kind of a, I guess, abstract piece today. I mean, you saw it in the thumbnail, I'm sure. I'm using leftover paint off the palette. There's a little bit of gouache mixed in, and I didn't want to throw it away, so I had leftover paint on the palette. I thought I'd throw that down really quickly. And I was going to do circles, and then I changed my mind really quickly and was like, yeah, this is not going to work. So let's just do just an overall base coat. And now I'm going to try the circle thing again. And the idea is to make evenly spaced circles to doodle in once this is all dry, to do mark making and make this just an interesting kind of piece. It's wet and wet, and I'm just mixing some pinks and putting it over the green, and it kind of changes color because the green's mixing in with in some spots and it's brighter in other spots. And then I'm like, yeah, this circles thing's not working out. We'll just overlap them a little bit. It'll be fine. It'll be totally fine. And we're going to hit it with the heat tool so that I can figure out what I'm going to do next, because I went ahead and did this without a plan. I just wanted to create, and I thought I'd turn the camera on while I was doing it. I did a few pieces with leftover gouache earlier in the week, and really wish that I had filmed that because it turned out so much better than this one, in my opinion. But yeah, so here we are. So that's what prompted this little session. I've been watching other people do this kind of thing. The lay down color, lay down more color, make shapes, and then doodle or mark make on top, just to make an interesting kind of creative piece. I don't often do this kind of thing. I usually do this kind of thing for backgrounds. I don't usually do this kind of thing just for fun. And it is very meditative. It is very relaxing. This took about an hour, a little over an hour to do. Just kind of listening to music and painting. I wasn't intending to talk through the process or anything because I didn't know what the heck I was doing. But I decided I'd do a little spiral on the top left one right there, just for something different, and then throwing some greens down and some additional pinks and kind of just rolling with the punches here. It muddies up pretty quickly, and I'm not thrilled with the piece at all, but you just groove on through, see if it'll work out. Put in some spots. I'm trying for spots, and then just to carry the green into each of the spaces in some way. But I didn't want them all to be the same color, next to each other. So trying to mix it up a little bit. I'm overthinking is what I'm doing. I'm way overthinking the process. Last two that I did, I had just leftover gouache on the palette from 3-color painting that I was practicing, and it happened to work out well. And this one, I'm just overthinking just a bit. I decide to get rid of the spiral. I don't like it, so I just throw some red in up there and a little more red down here to kind of give it a little balance. And then I'm really digging that bright lemon yellow color, so I've dropped that in here and there as well. And then we're gonna hit it with the heat tool again, because I really want to draw over the top of this, and it needs to be dry to use my other tools that I want to use. If you don't have a heat tool, sorry, pardon me, goodness, that one grabbed me. If you don't have a heat tool, they're like $12 on Amazon, and it is a heat tool. They get very, very hot, so you don't need to use it for very long. As you can see, that went by. Took like a minute and a half to dry the whole paper, and it was very wet. And this is on a block. I'm working on a Hanamula. I don't think I have it out now. watercolor block, 140 pound cold press watercolor. And here I am getting out a gouache color. It's kind of a pearlescent green because I decided I don't like the watercolor background that I have. So I'm gonna kick that back. I'm gonna cover it up. And gouache is perfect for that. So I do jump from one tool to another while doing this. I have way too much paint on the paper. I don't know what I was thinking. But we're just going to roll with it and spread it all around and make some nice wonky circles, shapes around these circles to make them stand out a little more purposefully, I guess. That upper one is just, woo, not quite a circle, is it? It's more blobular. A very technical terminology right there. We're going to make blobular shapes and doodle on top. It's going to be great fun. The one I did before, I did ink doodles on top, and I think it turned out beautifully, which is part of what prompted this. I think that one will make some really great stickers or print. This one, I don't know. You guys will have to let me know if it turns out feeling dark to me. Not that that's a bad thing, but I wasn't going for dark. I was going for kind of light and in my head. Obviously on paper that didn't happen. But light and earthy at the same time. So I got the gouache all spread around relatively evenly. It's pretty thick on the paper, so I want to hit this with the heat tool as well so I don't smudge it. Usually gouache dries really quickly and you don't really need to hit it with the heat tool, but I put it on a little thick. So I just wanted to blast it with the heat tool to get that drier surface to work on top, and then a little bit more gouache. And this is where things start to get a little muddy. I don't like what I did with the watercolor. So I in my head I was like, well, the other piece was gouache, so maybe if I put a little more gouache on this one, it'll level out. And these are spontaneous pieces, right? They're supposed to be intuitive and creative, like just roll with the punches and not overthink it. And this is me overthinking. So I have out, I think it's a crimson, and then I grab a yellow ochre kind of color, and I'm mixing that in because the other piece had browns in it and I really loved it. And that's where I think my flaw is with this one. Trying to recreate the other piece, which was spontaneous and just kind of a little bit of wet into wet, lay down the water, put the gouache on top and just kind of let it swirl around on its own like you would with watercolor. And I didn't get that effect with this. So I'm kind of forcing the issue at this point. And then I realize I'm forcing the issue, and I'm like, fine, you know what? I'm just gonna put this down, and that'll be enough gouache. I think that's enough gouache. Just those three colors. Keep it kind of limited palette kind of thing. Now I don't know what to do, and that's what I do with my fingers when I don't know what to do. I just kind of rub my fingers together with my like that, and I'm like thinking. That's my, you know, Winnie the Pooh taps his head. Think. I rub my fingers together. I'm thinking I want to go in with the ink pen. Let's move the watercolors out of the way so I have room for my arm. And usually if I do a wet into wet technique, I can see shapes or some sort of element within the swirling mass of color. And I didn't quite get that here. So again, forcing the issue and seeing what I can see. Doodling around the edges, usually within the shapes. And then I'm thinking, well, maybe they need a border, like a messy, loose border kind of thing going on. Because the other one I did like swirls and dots and all kinds of stuff, and it turned out super cool. And this one I'm like, yeah, no. And then I'm like, all right, let's just do some mark making. Mark making is fun. This is a brush pen. I can make lots of marks with this. So I'm doing little, holding the brush sideways like that and just doing little dashes. And I like that. I'm digging it. I'm digging the black on this bold dark color that I have going on, which feels dark to me. It may not feel dark to other people. And I decided circles around these shapes, just kind of pulling out the different elements and enhancing where I can. And feeling a little looser now, starting to feel a little less in my head. And this is my favorite part usually. This is the doodly part's fun. You get down your colors and then you can just doodle about. And I'm like, all right, well, I have a dark line at the top one, so let's put a little bit of dark around this edge and maybe make some lines. And I kind of like the feel of that. Overall, feeling very dissatisfied with this piece the whole way through. But for these kinds of pieces, I don't tend to stop until I'm done. I just keep going and throwing things at it until I'm finished. I should have set a timer is what I should have done. Maybe next time. Some dots. Dot, 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 dot. Okay, that's enough of that business. And the white gel pen. I really wanted to use the white gel pen on here, but my white gel pens, I don't know what I did to them. They're the Unisignos. They're really nice pens. They usually work on everything. I think I gummed them up, and I'm not sure how to fix them. But none of them work now. They're full of ink. I just gummed up the tips. So I'm like, all right, well, that's not going to work. Let's go in with some of my Neocolor 2 water-soluble crayons. I love these things. They are on my desk right to the right of me. They live there. I doodle with them and color in and do washes and all kinds of things. But these are a very versatile tool. I decide pink. I'm going to throw some pink in and kind of brighten the piece up a little bit here and there. And I think it works a little bit. Not quite as much as I want, but it works a little bit. I'm just putting a little bits here and there throughout. And you don't have to put the same color in each circle or square or shape that you do. If you just do blobs on your piece when you do this kind of thing, then I'm deciding blue, a dark blue, a nice dark blue. I didn't want to use black right away, so I thought blue, and I'm going in and throwing in just some color here and there. A little side swipe on the top one, some circles here and there. Just for balance, put a little bit of blue on each one. And I feel like that helps a lot. And I'm just skimming over the texture of the paper because I like the marks that it creates. And a little dark over there. I don't know. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just playing. This is just playtime. I have gotten out of the overthinking part. I do want it to be brighter in some areas, and that's what I'm trying for right now, is to not obliterate my dashes, but brighten up some of the spots throughout the piece. And I don't know why I felt like it was very dark, because now that I'm looking at it, doing the voiceover, I can see that there are nice, vibrant spots in it. I don't know. Like I said, I had no idea what I was doing, so here we are, just rolling with it. Again, I liked the green, so I skimmed that over the surface to create more texture and depth. And then I'm like, well, maybe if we just put like scribbly circles around each one, that'll help, right? And make some dark marks. All right, now that I've circled that one, I got to circle all of them. So I was going for that messy, just sketchy circle around each one with the pen, and not really feeling it. So I wanted it to be a certain width away, but feel like I did it with the ink pen and just made quick circles around each one. So I'm using the circle stencil and trying to get that effect, like to give each one an ink outline, because I started the ink outline on the one at the bottom, and you kind of got to follow it through, right? And that seemed to help. And I'm going with the larger circle to get that messy, scritchy, scratchy, scribbly circle going on around. So one step away. And I was liking that. I like that a lot. I was thinking in my head, okay, all right, this works. That's not too bad. We could do that. Feels better. Little less uniform, a little more organic. Maybe that's why I was just too stiff when I started out in the beginning with by the time I got to the circle part. I'm going to use the side of the ink pen there and try and get some marks and some textures. And like I said, I noodled around with this for a little over an hour. And most of this was doodling on top. That's the more time-consuming part. And I like the lines, so let's pop some of those in. In and out from the different colors, giving it a little more depth and dimension here and there. I really wasn't digging the lines on that one anymore, so I filled that right in a little. Yeah, those vertical lines were not doing it for me at all. I'm just picking away. More circles. I really like circles. Circles on circles on circles and polka dots and pointillism. I love pointillism. It is incredibly time consuming though. And then at some places I got too dark, so I'm going in with these crayons and creating more texture and full on scribbling around at this point. I really enjoyed the brightness of the green on top of the darker colors. That I like that. And that's things you'll learn doing this kind of experimental kind of work, is how your different tools mix and mingle, and the different textures you can create on different papers over the top of other mediums, because certain mediums create certain textures. So you can discover some things you really like doing this kind of thing that you can carry over into more serious pieces. Not that this isn't a serious piece, but for me, into a more like finished piece of like landscape or animal portrait or drawing humans, that kind of thing. I decide I need to do more ink work. I'm really not satisfied with the circly parts, I don't think. I want them to be a little more organic than they are. And I'm just not feeling it. Some dots, some swirls. Do any of you do this kind of art? This kind of organic, abstract stuff? I do it in my personal time. I have two little notebooks that I do this kind of thing in. Here I am doing my rough circles that I like. I feel like this kind of finishes it off. I've got the Neocolor 2 in black and the circle stencil, and I'm just kind of scribble texturing over the top. I'm getting that scribbly textured circle that I was looking for, and I feel like that finishes it off. And that's about it. That's all I do. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you guys. And that's brushing off the crumbs. That's it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for being here. Bye.